around without being shady. Who knows her values? Who's gone through trials? Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist.
Hey. It's your girl Tasha, known to the world as a Tasha Carpenter. Guys, but everybody calls me your girl Tasha because when you hang with me, it's like you are hanging with your girl. And look, today we are winging it in the studio, guys.
We winging.
We winging it in the studio because my guest who is supposed to be here, Mrs. Tiffany Boyd Wesley, the Arlington County's first black battalion chief in the county, had to reschedule. So instead, we have one of y'all favorites that come back in the studio all the time.
That's right.
Mr. Card Logic himself. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself to you.
My name is Derek Jones, a.k.a. Mr. Card Logic, and I'm here on the Wing It Show, and we're going to talk about failing our way to success. And what I do with Card Logic is I give you a visual map of how your mind works with your emotions, and then I route you on the path to make better decisions. So we're going to do a little bit of that today. So, failing your way to success. You want to
share?
Oh, yes, right. Share and invite. I just did it.
Share and invite.
I just did it myself on my own phone.
Share and invite. Share and invite. Okay.
Share and invite.
Okay, what you got for me?
Failing your way to success. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us look at failure as an indictment on what our rest of our life looks like. And a lot of times we don't look at the failure as a stepping stone or a learning point. We look at it as, I failed this one time or I failed this second time, so let me just stop trying to achieve my goal or trying to achieve my dreams. And then for a lot of us, it turns into, in some points, you know, it could cause you to be depressed and you don't know which way is up. And what I always try to, sometimes I call it like PTSD, like you've been failing, or you feel like you've been failing so much that you are afraid to succeed. So you get close to succeeding and you kind of back off because you're afraid it might feel like it did before. And that's the emotional component. Have you ever failed before or thought you failed before?
I failed a test before.
Oh, just one test?
Yeah, a few tests, you know. That's all that I really felt before. But, you know, it's funny because yesterday what you're saying here, I think is really timely because one of my partners came from El Salvador, and we were doing a coaching session with one of my other partners. And actually, in this case, because of the number of times that she's tried to get other people to partner with her, he observed that somehow may have broke her spirit.
Yep.
So now she doesn't necessarily believe in herself as much as she believes in the business.
Yeah, and that right there, like my own personal, you know, journey of being indifferent, you know, having the spirit of wanting to like own my own business and trying again, but never gave up, but kept trying. I finally got to a point where I broke, and I just was like, you know what, I'm done with people. I don't want to sell anything. I'm just going to chill. I don't want to be on social media. Those people don't care about me anyway. And I sat for like, I want to say it had to be like maybe 5 or 6 months. And I was just ghost. Like people was looking like, where did Derek go? What are they doing? What's going on? And I just was done because I had that feeling of, I don't want to fail again. So it took me a while to figure out exactly what I really wanted to do. And that's how Card Logic came to be, because I felt like instead of me looking to try to push in a direction that somebody else wants me to go, I had to figure out what my gifts were and try to create something on my own. So we're going to do a quick Card Logic demonstration, because that's what these are here for, right? So we're going to use Tasha.
Move
right?
the water out the way.
The water's
okay,
it? No,
okay.
No, you don't have to get. Okay, you
I
can get up.
Get up. It's my
Okay,
show.
so look, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give Tasha. We're gonna give her 5 cards. You're gonna fan these 5 cards out like you're playing poker. Okay, and so what these cards are going to represent, guys, is these are Tasha's successes. Each one of them is a success that she's had in her life, right? And what we tend to do psychologically in our minds is my success may not look like this. My success may look like this. Right? And when I'm doing the comparison game and I'm looking back and forth and I have success, right? I should be happy with what I have. But because I don't have what she has, I get depressed. And guess what happens when you get into that mode? Then you drop this too. And everything just goes because I'm constantly comparing myself to her wins when I need to keep my blinders on and keep my focus. And eventually, I may get this many or this many. It's still not 5 like her, but I'm moving at my own pace. And this is to be celebrated as well. These are your wins, your individual wins, and those are her individual wins. So even though your wins may not look like someone else's, you still keep pushing. You still keep moving because you want to make sure that your prize is your prize. Because you never know, one day Tasha may end up looking like this. And that's her story. That's her story. She may end up with 2 and you may end up with 5. But it's for you to stay your course.
Thank you for sharing, Alicia. Nicole Turner Thomas says that's a great analogy.
So we're going to take these back and we're going to talk about, because we just rolling, guys. So I'm going to just keep it moving. I'm making up a lot of this stuff off the cuff. But
let me just say, I want to say, when you're doing that, you talking about the whole focus and stuff, I always tell everybody, when it comes to you, we've all heard the old analogy that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? Or if you water your own grass, then it'll be green like somebody else. I just say, just stay away from the fence.
Yep.
Stay away from the fence. Stay in the middle of your yard. Stay in the middle of your lane and stay away from somebody else's fence and stop looking over at their fence, because I'm sure I wish you had a whole nother deck of cards over there that could be like, I went to the store and purchased the deck of cards, right? And then I added to it to make my spread look bigger. But I had purchased those deck of cards, and you jealous, and I didn't really have the wins that you think I had because I done purchased top cards and threw them in the deck.
Yep, it's fake. And that's another thing too. Just a side note to that. Stop paying attention to social media. It's not real. Like people will be on there.
I'm real.
Like this.
I'm real.
People will be on there with this many wins on camera, and it's not real.
Play my slideshow control room. I'm real. Go ahead.
So we're gonna do another one. I can do this all day, ladies and gentlemen. So to piggyback off of that.
Hey Tony Manley, congratulations on your recording. Deal there. Have you and your girl Tasha singing again. Tony Manley, shout out. Okay, I'm sorry.
So when you talked about your business partner or whoever it was that kind of spirit got broken. This is what it looks like visually. Like, I want you guys to really picture in your mind when I show you this. I'm gonna use you on the next one. So
he's finished
for now. So the red deck is going to represent successes. Okay, so we're gonna just put this right here for now, and we're gonna arbitrarily turn over one card. So the white side of the card, doesn't matter if it's a queen or whatever, the white side of the card is going to represent you. So we're going to put you right here. I don't know if control room can get this or whatever, but this is going to be you. These are the successes. In our minds, this is how we perceive our failures. Right? It's overwhelming. And the success is right here. It's close. So you have to get to a point in your mind and your soul and your passion to where you can start to move some of this stuff out of the way. Because remember, I talked about having PTSD and you feel like you failed all these times, and why bother? I'm never, like some people will say, I'm a loser. I never win. And It's so not true, because winning is a function of preparation and trying to figure out where you want to go, but it's also a function of spirit, and it's also a function of you having the willingness to keep going. And that's why they always say do something you love, because you're going to have those down moments, but if you love it, then you'll persevere through it. Right? Got anything to add? You good?
I'm good.
You waiting for the next one? Okay. So we're gonna give you the next one. Look, I already got.
I'm ready.
I can do this all day.
I'm ready to bid for a special over here.
So the next one we're gonna do is, I always got to be mindful not to use the black cards for negative things. So
why? Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I know people out here watching it. Why he got to use the black cards for bad stuff? So I'm gonna make sure I don't do that.
Why you gotta use the red cards? I'm red.
You are. Yeah. It's close. So we're going to give you...
Y'all going to be in for something today, because this show, you don't know what might happen.
So we're going to give you these 5 red cards. So fan them out like you're playing poker or whatever game you play. And so this is how psychologically in our minds, if these are our successes, and then a failure may come in here, right? That's what failure really looks like. It's a small point in your life. Like if you look at your whole lifespan, if you have that positive energy, that failure means nothing compared to the successes that you're destined to have, right? And you may have another one, you may throw another one in there, but you can still see the red. The success still lives there. But this is what our minds do that keep us in a rut. Instead of our failures looking like the black, we make our failures look like this in our brains. And when you make your failures look like that, guess what? You'll never do anything, because it's too big it's too big of an obstacle. That's in your head. That's not reality. So you have to remove the doubt. Because the doubt is bigger than probably whatever you have to do in your life to get you back on the horse, so to speak. It's not always going to be pretty, but it exists. And as long as you know it exists, it's something you should strive for.
So how about we don't refer to them as failures?
Well, we can call it what you want to.
How about lessons?
That's true. Lessons.
Okay.
I use the word failure because that's how people feel.
Exactly.
They feel like it's a failure, but it's really a lesson.
Right.
It's something that you should learn from. And this is kind of like a philosophy that I take on in my own life, and it also comes from like what I do for a living, like in IT, you troubleshoot. And the way that I operate is that if I know that the computer is designed to do A, B, C, and D, if something breaks, it's designed to do a certain thing, and I know that if it breaks, there's got to be a way to fix it. So I won't stop until I find every avenue to take to get to the goal of fixing it. Now, if I go every single route and it can't be fixed, then you get another computer. But I'm not going to give up because I didn't try every lane. So what I'm going to show you now is, and I'm going to use you, not this one. So we're going to let you take a little break. So this is a little one that I do all the time for people that don't realize that there's more than one way to skin a cat. So I hope I did this properly, so bear with me. So we're going to use blackjack rules. We're going to try to attain the number 21.
I like blackjack.
So the first way we're going to get 21 is we're going to use the king and the ace. You can hold that. Yeah, we'll use her this time. So the ace could be 1 or 11. And in this case, it's 11. And the face card here is going to be worth 10. So that's 21. So that 21 represents that person that you feel like is like the guru of whatever field you're in. And you look at that person and you want to mimic them and you want to be just like them. But guess what happens in the real world is you try to mimic and duplicate that person exactly, and you don't hit the mark. And you don't get the successes that they got, right? So at that point, most of us will say, I'm going to give up. I quit. I didn't get what they want, so I'm going to move and do this. I'm going to move and do that. And you didn't get 21 the same way that they had it.
Hey, Terrence from Chicago. Thank you all for sharing and inviting. Hey, Tawana. Hey, Tanya.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
So then what you do is you say, okay, let me go back to the drawing board. So now we have 2 face cards in the ace. And in this case, the ace is going to be represented by the number 1. So now we just created another lane to get to the same goal. It may not take you the short amount of time or the exact amount of time as somebody else, but there exists another way. And guess what? We have a whole rest of this deck here. So now you could take, I'm going to hold these because you only have 2 hands. You could take 3 5s and an 8. So now you just created yet another way to get to the same goal of getting to 21. And in life, this is how...
Oh, you know what? I just wanted to hold that.
The light bulb went off.
Yes, but look, hold that thing back up because you was talking about it may take more steps. But I think that one thing that causes people often to feel like they fail their way to success or they let their failures mess them up is, again, this goes back to looking at what the other person has.
Exactly.
This is for those microwave people.
Yep.
Those people who think that things are supposed to happen quickly.
Yep.
Okay? You come into something and you see this one over here, this 21, and they're already there, and you see this person get 21, and you're like, why in the heck do they both have 21? Because you're comparing your chapter, you in chapter 2, he over there in chapter 4, this one in chapter 3. You trying to get that microwave success, and you're not putting in the work, and you don't know what they did to get their way of getting the 4.
Right. That is true.
Your girl Tasha getting some card logic on there.
Hashtag facts. So we finished with that one, and so
that was fun.
That's what the whole purpose of card logic is to educate and also be fun. So that's why I created it, because I wanted to make sure that people had a different way to view things. And hopefully when you leave from this broadcast tonight, you'll remember these cards and you will, hopefully make a better decision. And so along with the theme of failing your way forward, you have to look at those times in your life where, like I was telling you about me, like I really felt down and I didn't even want to do anything for a long time because my spirit was broken. And Tasha will tell you, it's certain things I just won't do now because I'm broken. And it's a real thing. And for a lot of people, they live in that broken state for their whole lives. And they never aspire to follow their dreams.
If somebody's out there, because it's not just about, how Derek and I are, how we are in this platform. It's not just about us. If you're a person that you feel that you were broken or you feel that you had a failure that you want to conquer, guys, call in on the phone. Call in. Call in on the phone. Call in on 301-429-9247. I want to hear your voices. Call in. Talk to us. This show is about you and helping those people who feel like you're failures. And because you feel like you're failure, Joe, you're blocking your blessings.
Absolutely.
There's something out there, extra out there for you to use, but you're not using it because you're too busy trying to drive, looking through the rear view mirror. We're trying to get you guys to come on and look through the windshield instead, okay?
Absolutely. So, it's a real thing out here, and you really have to look at, the other thing that I also wanted to talk about too was how people that are in our circle, meaning friends, family, close people, loved ones,
oh, Lord.
they are also contributors to you having that feeling of failure because they don't support you or they don't believe in whatever you're trying to achieve. And you may be, gung-ho about it. And then it takes that one person that you really trust and love to come in and say, nah, don't do that. That didn't work for me. So you don't do it. And now you totally trash and discard what you were excited about, and you had your plan and your map and your goals, and it gets destroyed. And now you feel like, even though you didn't even get started, you feel like you failed. Because you're like, dang, I must have had a bad idea because they said it was bad. And it's really about you. You want to say something?
Hey, June. And sometimes it's about the fact that they tried to do the same thing. and
Yep.
they failed.
Yep.
And because they failed, they're like, they think they protecting you, or they hating because they're like, I tried it. They don't want to see you do it. And the whole thing is that when you do something based on everybody else, the only person, if later on, okay, let me talk about myself then.
Thank you.
I guess I had a time. And I'm not going to say that it's a failure, but it was a learning lesson. Going back to my old marriage, back in the day, your girl Tasha was partnering with a lady doing a wedding coordinating business, right? And spending the Fridays and spending the Saturdays, the pre-rehearsals and the day of the wedding or whatever. My children were young at that time, and the man always talked about how he was tired of babysitting. Why I always got to babysit just because you're doing this, okay? So I allowed him to get in. He's like, and are you really like making any money? And I really could have made some money, but it was because he didn't want to watch the kids, that he's putting all this stuff in my head or trying to put this stuff in my head, but it would cause arguments. And because of that, your girl Tasha gave up her dream, because I'm going to tell you, your girl Tasha was bad. Ingrid Birds, you on here? I coordinated that wedding right on here. Your girl Tasha was bad as a event coordinator, bad in a good way. But I did that, and sometimes now I have regrets that it took all this time. It's like I posted on my Facebook page the other day that I'm finally turning into the person who I was supposed to be years ago. Yep. So, I could look at it and have a regret because in my younger ages, I didn't do all this. Me and my friend now, he always talks about, look, my hustle time is over. I done did all that stuff. My hustle time not over because I allowed somebody to prevent me from getting my hustle in, or prevent me from growing and pursuing the lanes that I wanted to pursue. So now I'm playing catch up. And I could look at that negative. I could be like, I'm too old for this stuff.
Yeah.
I could be like, my man right now, he old, he don't want to hear that. I can't do that. I have to let him know, and he respects me because I still got it. It's in me. It's still in me to be great.
And you know what? I always think about when people say that, and I used to always say it too in my head, like I'm too old, but Samuel L. Jackson started at 43. Started his career at 43. So I'm like, okay, so I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I feel like a part of me is kind of like an empath too. So I kind of like, I hear people talk about it. I see people moving different ways because, I'm the analyst. So I watch stuff on social media, and I see people, jumping and doing like 3,000 different things, and they don't really have a focus because they're chasing money. Like we have bills, but what I found, my personal experience is when you're so hard pressed to chase the money and there's no real purpose around what you're doing and you don't really love it, it doesn't really fulfill you as a human being. And we see a lot of people out here in the rat race, and I think a lot of us have been a part of that, just trying to make ends meet and trying to find a hustle to make some extra money. And I always see these things online that says, sometimes you can hustle too much to the point where it'll kill you. And I took that to heart because we've done that. Like, you want to build your empire and work hard at doing it, but sometimes you have to kind of internalize it and work smarter, not harder. Because what ends up happening is when you hustle too much, too hard, the other things around you start getting affected, right? And some people will say, well, I got to put in these next 2 years and my family will be all right. That's 2 years that you didn't really invest time in the people around you that love you and all of that. So you got to find that happy medium. We all got to do to survive, but it's a rat race out there, and a lot of people don't understand that. And it's my personal story. Your gifts, the gifts, normally they're doing this your whole life. They just knocking, and they telling you what you should be doing, and you're like, nah, I got to go this way, and they just keep knocking and keep knocking and keep knocking. And like for me and my wife, we did so many different businesses, and we just did not want to give up. And that's what a lot of people say about us. Like, we see y'all moving, and we love the fact that y'all just don't give up and y'all don't stop. But for me, just my own personal, like, what got me here with even these cards, it's just the weirdest thing. Like, I had a passion for teaching and coaching people, but like in a visual way, right? And I got a little taste of it when I was in a prior, business opportunity, and I was able to be afforded the ability to train. And when I trained, I used a lot of visuals. And when people saw the visuals and they were able to connect to the pictures and the imagery, then the light bulb started going off. And then I got fulfillment. And then I left that and I stopped it, but it kept knocking. And I was like, this visual thing and this training and the light bulb going off.
Did this before?
No, I did like PowerPoints. You know how PowerPoints will have words and bullet points?
Okay.
I would take the whole words off and just put a picture and speak to the picture and say, this is the lesson against the picture. And they would remember the picture as opposed to bullet points.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
People that didn't get it, they would be like, I've been in these industries for the past 10 years and I finally get it. And so I got gratification out of knowing that I allowed that person to have, and many people, that for the light bulb to go off. So I was like, I don't know what that looks like though. So let me go over here and chase this dollar and jump over here and do this other thing. And it didn't work out. We hustled until our fingers bled, but it just didn't work out. And I wasn't really feeling fulfilled in here either, right? And so that whole thing kept knocking, just kept knocking. Like, you gotta figure this out. And eventually the cards came in because I said I needed something that I could have that's portable. But I also look at the cards as you have colors, you have suits, you have numbers, and now I have sizes. And when you put all of those in a gumbo, you could create limitless, what's the word I'm looking for? You can
opportunity?
No, limitless demonstration. The word will come to me. Okay. Analogies. You can create limitless analogies. And because I'm such a analytical, cerebral person, now you got to look at creating analogies for like relationships and finance and depression and anxiety and all these different areas where we have emotional decisions. And so when I thought of this, I said, oh, nobody's going to really like it, until they did. And then I was like, that's it. But you got to look deep. And I say all of that to say it's always there. It's always knocking. And you know what it is. And maybe that means you got to go back to school. Maybe that means you got to, figure it out. But don't sit in that, what we're saying today as failure. Don't sit in that rut and have your spirit broken. And the next thing you know, go ahead, bam, I hear it coming. Let's see it turn.
Question, because failure to a lot of people means that they've been hurt.
Correct.
So then what do you have to say to the individual that's been hurt? How do you heal from the emotions associated with the pain with failures? What does a person do to heal themselves?
Well, for me, I would say, like, you really have to come to the understanding that whatever that feeling and that emotion that you have, it's very tiny in the whole scheme of what your purpose is really for. And you have to know that that feeling comes from what you would perceive as failure or losing. But like I showed you before in one of the other demonstrations, there's so many other ways to get to that goal. And maybe it looks a little different, and maybe you need to learn something a little different, but the goal is still the same for you, right?
Okay, we got what is it? Hey, I've been out. Michelle Ford, hey, I've been out on, I don't know what you was typing, but someone at work came over and actually asking about some doggone work. So I missed listening. Oh, she missed listening to the first half. I thought you were going to say somebody came to your desk, saw it on your screen, and had a question. Michelle, we talk about failing your way to success. So we're trying to get people to call in and talk about failures and if you've been hurting from it and how it's preventing you, so we could try to help you move forward with Mr. Card Logic. The number is 301-429-9247. 301-429-9247. Share and invite.
That's right. Share and invite. So You have to, and it's just like, it's almost the way that you treat this is almost kind of similar to how you would treat depression and stress. And you have to, barring any, chemical imbalance and medication and all of that, just every day, like people, like I always talk about people living in everyday depression and they don't even really, address it or even say anything about it. But it is a form of depression when you're feeling that loss and that emotion of feeling like you failed. You got to know, number one, that there's other ways for you to succeed. And you also have to know that, and I always talk about this when I talk about depression, you have to look at those things that are those external forces that you perceive as failure and those things that are keeping you down. Those things do not control you. You have to know within yourself that the way that you react to those things is how you achieve power. So and I can actually, since we winging it, I always do this, and people probably seen it a million times, but it's powerful. I'll do my depression example so that you guys can understand, because it still plays a part. So if we take, I'm trying not to do black for negative. If we take the red deck is you, right? And we take, and in this case, because I always adjust these to the topic, the external things. I failed at this network marketing business. I failed at being a cake baker. I failed at, whatever it is, relationships, right? And you have all of these external forces that keep you down. And you live in that down place. It could be feeling of failure. It could be depression, stress, anxiety. And sometimes all of those live in the same person. And you have to realize that those external forces, they're only keeping you down because it's keeping it down in here. So you have to find a place that your brain can go to that's happy. And like for me, what I do is, because I know that there are other things out of there, and we have the internet, I'm going and researching things. I'm talking to other people that's doing different things. Like, how did you do this? And once you see that there's a light, then now what you do is you take parts of yourself and now you affect how you react to those external forces. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing you that now those things don't have dominion over you. You are now in control of those things. And it doesn't mean that you take them away. It means you control how you react to them. So the next time that you feel that feeling of failure, it's not about the failure. It's about how you react to it. She about to do something. Okay. So you have to control how you react to those things. And once you get to a point where you know how to react to them, then you can just brush it off. Next time you're like, okay, that didn't work, but there's got to be something else. Let me figure it out. And I'm really sick with it. Like if something doesn't work for me, I'll be up till 4:00 in the morning for that whole week trying to figure it out until I can't sleep, because I know there's got to be another way. Like, who would have ever thought that I'd be here doing this thing with these cars? I'm an IT guy. I'm supposed to be here with a laptop in my hand, but I'm a very empathetic person. And I know how I can feel how people feel, and I see it all the time. And I was like, you know what? This analytical brain of mine has a purpose. There's a reason why I'm like this, because I'm a little crazy.
Beyond the computers.
So I want to help people. I want to make those light bulbs go off, so you don't keep going through that hamster wheel of feeling depressed and I'm losing, and why is this person walking across the stage and they have this big check in their hand and I don't have that, and but you made $1,000 last month. That's still a win. It might not be 5,000, but you did something, and you need to celebrate the little wins too. Don't think that you always have to celebrate big wins, because that's the path to being depressed as well. Is always thinking that, well, if it's not big enough, then I didn't do well, so forget all of it.
All right, now, how do you convert a failure to a growth opportunity then?
As far as well, the way that not just off the cuff, for me, it's about recognizing if I feel like and we'll just say it's failure because that's what the term people use. If I see that I failed, what I personally do is I look at why I failed. And once I know why I failed, it's the same way that when people go talk to therapists and things like that, they're always trying to trace back the why so that you can find a solution. So if you say, okay, if I was a cake baker and the cake business didn't work.
You can't cook.
You're right, I can't cook. But if I was, because this is for play, right? If I was a cake baker and it didn't work, and then I found out that the cake business didn't work because my cakes didn't have sugar in it, or it just was disgusting and people just hated it, and that's why it didn't work, I got to own that. Instead of being depressed that this dream of me having a cake business didn't work, I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm going to figure out how to fix it. And sometimes that means going and doing more market research and figuring out how other people are doing it so that you can figure out how to mold your own little niche in the game. Maybe you need to talk to somebody. Maybe you need to do some more research. Maybe you need to come up with some new recipes, and then you go back if that's your dream, you go back and that's why I keep talking about troubleshooting. You have to troubleshoot those losses so that you can grow from them. That's why we call them lessons. And when you go back and you figure out those pain points and you own them instead of being cocky like, oh, my recipe is the best. Well, if everybody think it's nasty, guess what? You're not going to make any money. So you also got to pay attention to what other people are saying about your product too and build from that. Don't take it as, oh, well, these past few months, nobody bought anything from me, so I'm just going to quit. Never quit. Those are the two words I live by. Never quit. There's always a way to get to your goal. So to use the cake example, if you're a cake baker and the cake business doesn't work and you're just through with it, then maybe you go and, I don't know, start up I don't know, what's another business where people maybe you want to cook, open up a macaroni and cheese spot or something. I don't know, but it's still in the same realm of you cooking, baking, whatever, and you may have some extra desserts on the side, but it's still in that same family, kind of, sort of. So now you've retuned yourself down another path, but it's still adjacent to what your dream is, so you don't totally go right from it.
And with that, we're going to take us a break. We're going to go to a commercial break real quick. Take care of our sponsors.
There's nothing as horrifying than using a public restroom.
Ain't nowhere close to being
that. Sure, maybe they're not that scary, but I'm sure everyone has had to use a public restroom under less than ideal conditions. Like public restrooms that haven't been restocked with essentials like paper towels or seat covers. Many times, toilet paper is missing or found loose on the nasty floor, too soiled to use. The solution is simple. Just carry the restroom kit with you. Each kit contains a patented seat cover, plenty of toilet paper, and 2 lightly scented wipes. One for your hands and the other one for your tush. Turn a public restroom into a pleasurable experience with the restroom kit.
Order your kits today at therestroomkit.com.
She coming? She coming? Who coming? He coming?
Coming. Yeah, come on.
Good morning.
Just
wanted to let you know my daughter has her genie in the bottle.
Next commercial. Let me make sure.
This liquid gold product by Tella Divina is remarkable. If you have any spots, blemishes, things that you want to get rid of, pain, this thing, I'm telling you, I call it genie in the bottle because it is truly that. The sad thing is I have to sneak this from my daughter. She lives by this, and when I say every single day, she is on it. And if she knows that I'm in it, it's a problem. So I should just be getting one for myself. But this genie in the bottle is magical. Guys, I'm telling you, if you have these spots and things that you're trying to get rid of, try a dab of this and it will do you the goodness. Have a wonderful day.
Hey, I know I look my best, but who cares? I'm getting myself prepared to go out for the day. I just want to share a short video about this wonderful oil that I use on my sides of my head. My hair used to be really thin on the sides, but I have something that I use every day, and it's been helping me, and my sides are going back again. It's called Liquid Gold. Ladies, and there might be some men out there that might be losing their hair on the side, but this oil right here is awesome. It's called Liquid Gold. And if anybody is interested in using this gold or wanting to try it out, just contact me. I'm about to rub some more on my head right now. My hair used to be really thin from wearing cornrows and tight plaits on my hair, but now that I use this stuff really works. I would like to show you how I use it, but it might be hard. Let me put this phone on. You only use a little bit. Put a tip of it on your finger, like this. See? I use this, and like I said, it's the bomb.
People that spend time with you, that you're going on date number 5 and you know it's not good and it's not working for you. This is what happens. Now remember, I'm going to put this black card of your soulmate over here. This is what happens. You start dating these people and spending time with time wasters, right? And this is what it starts to look like when you consume your time. When Mr. or Mrs. Right comes along, you're spending your time with the wrong people. They can't even get to you, right? And this is what I call blocking your blessings, right? This person may be coming in at one of these times and they can't get through because you're wasting time, and you know that this is a waste of your time.
All right, guys, we are back in the studio. It's your girl Tasha. Back on the flip side, we had some commercials there, Mr. Card Logic, that Liquid Gold, and the restroom kit. But right now, we have some additional guests that just came in. Remember, this is a weekend show. We just doing everything. But since you guys won't call in and talk about your failures because y'all too embarrassed, we got some people that are willing to be transparent. Can y'all please introduce yourselves?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. I'm one of the engineers here at WBGR and also one of the sports writers here at the station. And y'all been doing really well with this show that supposedly feels like a winged show.
Hey.
Hey guys, I'm Tanya Lewis Wells. I guess a few titles. So I am one of the hosts of Iron Girls Body Business. So I'm a sanctioned bodybuilding promoter under OCB, and been in the bodybuilding industry since 2003. I own Iron Girls Athletics with Rotunda Mobley, and we own Iron Girls Weekend and a whole bunch of other extreme sports events. Along with that, by day I run a terrorism unit for NSA.
There you go.
I did not know that second one.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And guess what? They want to share some experiences with you guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, so mine's gonna be quick because you guys will hear my 3-year-old daughter making all kinds of noise out. But one of my experiences, I think one of my larger failures, I didn't realize it was a failure, was my first marriage. You know, trying to start this business, it takes a lot out of you. You know, you're on the go all the time. My daughter's about to come in. Didn't want kids, all that kind of stuff. So long story short, that marriage didn't do well, and that ended because all of my time was on the road, because in order to get to where I am today, it just took a lot of networking. It took a lot of time, a lot of Saturdays. So I was depressed a lot from that, and that was hard because on paper, we look great. I had the $715,000 house in Bowie. I always have had, my sports car, the truck, and, I bought him the BMW, and he had his motorcycle, and we were just like living that life. No kids, every birthday, and we going out of the country. So it looked great. But, I didn't realize how much I was neglecting what was going on at home, for the sake of trying to build this business. But lo and behold, fast forward to today, remarried, really great husband, have kids. Never thought I'd be anybody's mom, and now they're the love of my life. And as far as, finances, that's okay that $700,000 house went. I'm 5 houses later, and I'm doing extremely well. So, everything happens for a reason.
So what does our specialist have to say to that story?
No, who's the specialist? Me?
You. Yes.
No, well, at the end of the day, it's like this. We sometimes get stuck in feeling that in this show titled failure of like in a marriage, or you may feel like you failed your family because you were trying to chase your dream of doing whatever you were trying to do, but it's how you work your way out of it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the perseverance to figure out, okay, I'm neglecting my family, I'm gonna have to try to do something to make sure that works. If you don't have the focus to try to figure that out, then you'll stay there.
Right.
And a lot of people stay in that rut in their lives. They, I won't say it for them, but a lot of times people have miserable lives because they're stuck in that place.
Yeah.
So if like they're in a relationship, and Tasha knows this, and we being in marriages too long, and things like that, and we just sit and stuck because we think that that's all we're worth.
Right.
So you gotta find that spirit of knowing that there's better for you out there.
Yeah.
So
I think that taught me also to don't look at things so much as a failure, and like at this stage, I also look at things as stages, and it's okay. We said it jokingly the other day. It's okay to take that every 10 years you got to reevaluate, because you hopefully you change. I'm certainly not the same person I was originally, but I'm also not the same person I was 10 years ago, so you got to be able to do that. But what it has taught me, I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to, I don't worry about what people think. I will walk out, leave out. I'll do what I need to do to make sure that my spirit is calm and I'm not stuck in a rut. And one of my friends, Kareem Petaway, he said, being truthful is hard. You got to be brave to be truthful, and most people they're not brave enough to live their truth. So they live the truth that other people perceive about them. But who they really are, most people you really don't know.
That's right. Now what you got to share with us too?
Mine was just a series of cascading failures pretty much out of high school. I graduated in 2008. From Jericho Christian Academy. I was a salutatorian.
Jericho!
Yes. Back when they had the secondary school, which unfortunately closed the next year, unfortunately. But I graduated salutatorian, had all this expectation on me. People were talking about, he's going to be the first black president. We didn't know Barack was coming, so then he took that expectation away from me. Got to my freshman year, didn't make it. Ended up washing out of school, had to come back to Prince George's Community College, and I was feeling down on myself because that school has a little bit of reputation in this area, not a good one. So I'm kind of listing through school. I was doing okay, but not the best. And then it was getting to a point where I'm just thinking, man, I'm stuck here. Everybody behind me graduating, people that are going into school, coming out of school, here I am still here. And I didn't realize I'm only a couple of credits from getting out of here. Now, the math program there wasn't the best. I ended up transferring to Bowie State. So 3 years later, I got myself out of this room. It's like, look, what happened in 2008 is what happened in 2008. Nobody in the HR office is looking to see whether or not you graduate out of 4 years. They're looking for whether or not you got the degree. So I went to Bowie State. I started working here before I graduated. I graduated May 2018 with my bachelor's of science. I've been working here, doing a lot of good things.
Yes, he runs my show every week, guys. Yeah, so he stepped in here. This is what you see. This is who's running my show every week when my baby girl's not here.
And this fall, I didn't even think I would get here, that I'll be going to the University in Maryland And I don't know why I'm crying all of a sudden, but that's where it is. Gonna go to the University of Maryland this fall, get my master's degree in multimedia journalism. And I don't know where the world's gonna take me. And way back in 2012, when I was looking at the pictures of everybody I went into school with graduating, I didn't think I was gonna ever get to this point. But I can praise God and say that I didn't give up, and I made it here.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, yes. Oh, look at you coming here making people cry.
I know, right?
Wait,
Hey, your testimony, your journey. It's your journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might make me have to go back and go ahead and finish my school.
I know. Let me check myself.
Look, the wedding coordinating thing was the only thing that got stopped for the marriage. I didn't finish school because of the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, because again, it was that thing about
putting them
babysitting.
Yeah.
What? Babysitting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what you got to say about that?
Well, I think that's it. I'm gonna follow
that. So you don't touch a young person that's doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, why aren't any of you guys calling in? Call in and talk about this. Look, he over here getting emotional. That's a release right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a weight being lifted off the shoulder when you're able to actually celebrate. We're talking about celebrate the little things. That's a big thing right there that he's able to celebrate, and her releasing what she's gone through. I don't care what nobody say no more. That's a celebration right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this show really touched me because in the beginning, when you guys talking about how the mind makes failures look to you, we had these huge behind cards up there. That's what was working on me from 2009 to about 2015 because I was struggling through the math program because I'm not the best at math. I got through, when they started putting the letters in the math, that was it for me. I got through by grace of God with a C getting out of high school. So I struggled with that.
2A plus 4 equals, never mind.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Go ahead.
But I got through that. But that program, that failure, because it took me 3 times. Taking that class in PG, didn't make it. Ended up getting to Bowie State where they were actually teaching the class with a teacher because at PG it was self-paced. Now I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and I'm not afraid to admit that. So you put an ADHD person in a self-paced class, they're not going to do well. And I'm testament to that. And I thought it was something about me until I got to Bowie State University, took the class with the teacher, passed it the first time, didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh,
somebody got brave.
After the baby says, "Can I watch the Smurfs?" Hold on, baby. Hold on. Hey, hello?
Hi, Tasha.
Hanging with your girl Tasha. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
This is your girl Tawana calling you.
What? Oh, I was watching you in there. I was wondering if you was gonna call in.
Yeah, I finally got the nerve to call.
All right.
Mother lover, I said. I just have a quick story. Oh my goodness, I had so many. I felt like failures, but anyway, I had started writing the book that I got published in 2018 for almost 10 years. And I started writing and I put it down and I started writing and I put it down and I kept telling myself, you don't want to write this book. Nobody's going to read it. It's going to be some garbage and all that. That's what I kept telling myself. But I had a couple of people that was in my corner and they believed in me more than I believed in myself. And they kept saying, well, when you going to finish writing the book? Because I did let them read a couple of pages, from what I wrote. And they was like, golly, that was pretty good. When are you going to finish the book? And I'm like, I'm going to get to it. But finally, I sat down in the year of 2018. 10 years, like I said, it took me to really get up the nerve to actually finish it and put it into a publisher's hand. And I did spend a good little amount of money, but I got it done in April 2018, and that was the most best feeling that I accomplished. I mean, because I'm always starting something, stopping something, starting something, stopping something. Yeah. But I finally completed something, even though it took me freaking 10 years to do it, but I finally completed it, and I felt so good. And then to hear people come out and read it and tell me, oh my gosh, that was so good. It was a good read. Now, when you going to write the next one?
There you go. There you go.
That's how it goes.
So congratulations on that. But that's Tawana. What contributed to you saying that, you know, it's going to be some garbage, nobody's going to read it? Can you share some of that? Because your story might bless somebody else.
Because the story that I wrote, it was actually about me. So I didn't think that nobody would actually be interested in the story that was about me. I just like, little old me, why would they care?
Yeah.
You know, but what it did was, you know, as I kept going through all these obstacles in my life and setbacks and dealing with depression and suicide, anxiety and all that, I have got to write this thing because it might help somebody. Yeah. But like I said, I wasn't thinking that at the time when I originally started, because it started as a journal. I was trying to help my own self.
Yeah.
You know, heal and get better from the things that I was going through. But by the time I got to 2018, and I put a deadline on my own self, and I was like, I have got to do this. And you know, at that time, I had stopped feeling better about myself and all that. And so then that's when I, you know, went on and finished writing it. I took it to the publisher, and when it came out, I was just like, oh man, I actually did this.
That's awesome.
Right?
Wow.
That was a big accomplishment for me, because I didn't think I had it in me. I really didn't. And I still got my issues because I still procrastinate and do a lot of things, but I'm trying to get better at it. But it's just one step at a time. And I see your cards, Derek.
That's good. Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah, I think it's always great when you, the last thing you said is that you still have your issues, you're a work in progress. I mean, to me, you know, that's always good to know that about yourself. We all, you know, if you can check yourself and know that you still got to work on that and start working towards it, you know, and making those small steps, those are good. Because a lot of times people they may not recognize it where their issues are, or they blame other people for their issues and don't say, well, you know what, I'm going to do something different. So that means a lot. We getting busy up in here.
All right, thank you. Tawana, we got another call coming in.
Okay.
Thanks. When she say 2? Or was that 2 minutes?
I think that was 2 minutes. That was 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. That's okay. It's 2 minutes. What were you going to say to Tawana?
No, what I was going to say is that, and just like she was saying, a lot of times you have to recognize those things in you that, like most of us have those voices in us that'll tell us, no, it's not going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Or, no, you're not going to be able to do this or that. But once you get over that hump, that happiness and that feeling of accomplishment, it's nothing like it in the world. And and like I always tell people, sometimes, like we talk about with card logic, when you have emotional decisions, you have to put some critical thinking in there. And if you're not capable of doing that because of all the pain you've endured, then you have to you have to borrow that from someone else, whether it's a therapist or someone else that you can talk to help you work through trying to reroute yourself back to the way you're supposed to, you know, where you're supposed to be. And then that allows you to kind of get out of that rut, because sitting in that rut for years and decades.
Yeah. I think sometimes I found that, like, I had an issue not too recently, and you know, it's like you want to talk to other people because you know, everybody, you don't know where they've been, and it might be something that gives you that aha moment. But then I started feeling like, okay, I don't want to keep talking about it, you know, or folks go, don't tell too many people. So then I was sitting there scared to talk about it, you know, but I was, you know, dying inside a little bit, you know, emotionally, because you're just living in it. You're almost going crazy over it. And so sometimes I find that was really hard. And I finally talked to somebody, and they just put a whole different spin on it. And I was thinking, oh, my God, I'm glad I didn't let that fear and just went on and said it, because I wouldn't have been able to get, not that I'm past it, but today I'm looking at it differently and I know that, you know, I can't control it. I can only control me. Where yesterday, before the conversation, you know, you just in the spin of your emotions. You know, why is this happening? You know, so yeah, definitely.
I think one thing we got to remember is just that everyone has their struggles. Because even when I started out going covering the games for this station, I'm in the room with people that have been there 20 years. At one time, it was my second game. Yeah. So I'm worried about, why am I not asking questions like that? Well, you've only been here 2 games, Daryl, so of course you're not going to be able to do that. So we got to not measure ourselves based upon people that are a lot further down on the road in their journey than we are.
Especially now with social media.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's that chapter thing. So look, guys, I'm going to close this thing out. Well, wait a minute. Wednesday nights. How they contact you?
Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. every Wednesday, I do a simulcast on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook at the same time, and we talk about all different types of topics that have to do with how to work through your emotional decisions, and like I always say. And I'll do with every emotional decision, you have to put a little bit of logic in it to balance it out.
And to find him, you can go to
www.mrcardlogic.com. That's how you can find those 3 social media places for the simulcast. So whichever one you want to chime into, you can go there, and you'll find out information about where I'm going to be and which radio shows and all this other kind of the information's there.
Awesome.
So.
And I want to just close out with 2 quotes. One from Johnny Cash, guys, for you guys going through this. It says that you build on failure, you use it as a stepping stone, close the door on the past. You don't try to forget the mistakes, but you don't dwell on it. You don't let it have any of your energy or any of your time or any of your space. That's Mr. Johnny Cash. And the last one, baby girl, hold on. Okay, the last one is from Mr. Dennis Waitley. Failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker. Failure is delay, not defeat. It is a temporary detour, not a dead end. Failure is something we can avoid only by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. And that's the end of another Hang With Your Girl Tasha. Come back next week. We'll have Prince George's County state of attorney, Aisha Braveboy will be in the studio.
Awesome.
So we see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smile's a capture from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. The cinnamon twist.